You say angry black man, angry black women, people of color. I look at the trauma on the slave ship. I have to go back to the transatlantic because it's past. It's passed through generations. So the trauma that I feel today is the same type of trauma that a woman felt on the ship when she decided to jump off with her baby in tow because she didn't want to be enslaved. I carry that inside my soul on a daily basis. All right, and so a situation like this, there hasn't been too many times in my life, and I'm 43, that I've been able to sit at the table right now with men of color and talk about something profound as this.
So now dealing with these different traumas and it's just building. We don't know about therapy, we don't know how to go get counseling, and that doesn't exist in my neighborhood. We're not fortunate enough to have those type of facilities around the neighborhood. But we do have liquor stores on every four corners of this neighborhood because this therapy is needed in these communities, and I see it, and I just want to be a part of connecting these struggles and helping out young men, sisters, get help, get some healing.
We don't look at mental illness in our community. We just say, oh, that's Joe, he crazy. Oh, he's just MO, he's a bug out. Or watch out, he might pop on you, you know what I mean? We don't got time to pay for expensive therapy and go downtown for treatment. That's some shit you just gotta swallow, hold that down, and deal with it. Me and my little brother, Creamy, was known for wilding out, taking extremes, and having these emotional outbreaks in the community. That led to incarceration.
Prison is the abnormal environment, and it's a breeding ground for trauma. The first time you saw somebody get dealt with while you were in there, jumped, stabbed, or whatever it was, there was that initial whoa, that shock, And then after a while, it no longer became shock. It became like, hey, just don't get none of your blood on me. You became used to it, right? Then it went from that to you becoming a participant in these violent acts.
All the people around me, I didn't exclude y'all. It's like I'm just in this moment, And it's like, wow, okay. This is the moment. This is the moment that I've been waiting for. This is the cry I've been having in the penitentiary 7 times. But I understand when I look back, I was in prison long before I got to prison. Because in the projects, I recall when they put the gates up all the way up. I remember the urine smell in the hallways and bodies in the hall. I remember that as a child being affected by that. I remember seeing my community in the 70s in the projects with African married restored. I remember coming out and seeing a father going to the factory happy to take care of his family. Then I remember the 80s and cocaine hit and it destroyed. It was systematic. I remember being in jail, being gang infested, right? I remember seeing my buddy stabbed and you had to keep walking. I remember that. I remember you had to carry a knife and you better not lose that knife.
And we normalized it.
And they normalized it. And I got caught up in that cycle. But my internal side was, the alarm was like something wrong. It kept going off, something wrong. My 7th time in jail, I stopped running from me and I started studying me and I started putting stuff in me and I created a 10-year plan of visioning myself outside the world. And I sat there and I kept studying me because I knew it was something inside of me. I just had to cultivate it. And I started attracting people like me who kept cultivating it. And then in June, my last time,
Because I'm telling y'all, this is my brother right here, and I know why he said, go ahead and say what you gotta say, brother, because I think you need to say it right now to free yourself even more, all right? Get that out there.
on May the 22nd, 2010, when I was in jail, prior to 30 days being released, my daughter was murdered. She was stabbed in the neck at the age of 25. That was my test. You want to talk about resiliency? I had a 10-year plan. I did what fathers do. I cried, I kicked, but I freed myself. When I went to her funeral and my ex-wife did the obituary, I wasn't a bad guy. Because I remember the memories when she was little. I used to sit on my lap and read and talk to her. I used to give her a hug. She brought all that back. And I knew I had to now go out and face the world because I vowed her life would not be in vain. That was my mission. But I remember when my daughter got murdered, the guys they called no good and murder, them was the guys crying with me and they was hugging me. They gave me what I needed. I didn't need to tell me it's gonna be all right. They gave me a hug. They gave me some tears. And that's why I had to come here today. To be here, you guys don't know what this means to me. To have this conversation, you don't know what this means for me. So,
3 months in my mother's stomach, my father was facing a life bed. Actually got sentenced to a life bed. But I love the fact that my mother kept me connected with my father's side of the family, though he was inside prison for a long time. Her connecting me with my father's side of the family helped me love my family equally, right? You know, just growing up with that, I thought that was okay. I thought that was the norm, you know? Seeing a brother come home from prison, that was like the norm, and it was like, yo, when I go to prison, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna get diesel like homie, you know what I'm saying? This is like becoming the norm. So one thing I said while I was inside prison is that when I come out, I'm definitely not gonna glorify prison, right? I'm not gonna come out talking about getting big, come out talking about the fun I had while I was inside prison. I'm coming out talking about the real stuff. The real stuff like losing 10 family members on the last year of your bid. And me constantly going to these programs, I got to see the reality of where I was at. When I'm walking around inside prison and the gangsters is inside these programs and they speaking real. And we could cry together, we could talk together. We got it from the older gentlemen inside the prisons that kind of helped us out and navigated us into the right approach. But these used to call the practice ground because we had a program that we created called Young Men in Touch. And we try to get every youth from 18 to 35 to come and just sit inside, forget the yard, forget basketball, just come inside this circle, let's just build, let's just talk freely, let's get it out, right? And this prepared us for our baby mother situation. This prepared us for when we reaching the street situation. I knew every different scheme that was gonna come at me, the old friends that was gonna come at me to try to lead me back into the BS. I knew that it was gonna be drama that I'm gonna have to walk away and understand and say, I apologize, even if it's not my fault.
This, you know, this is not to say that black men healing is more important than like black women's healing or other women's healing or trans identifying folks or gender non-conforming folks. That like healing is important for all our people, and it may have similarities and it may look different depending on how oppression is laying on top of our backs. Bell Hooks talks about a system of lies or deceit, and she says that's like black people who were impacted by chattel slavery, like lying to like slave masters, and to slave patrollers was a form of resistance, was a skill to survive. So when the slave master came around and said, "Oh, your daughter who's 12 is looking grown," you say, "No, she's only a little girl. She's stupid." So, because you don't want the slave master to later on come pick up your little daughter and take her into the barn. You know, so we as a people, we learn how to use lies and how to put masks on as a way of surviving in the context that we're in. And what she forces us or asks us to think about now is that what practices and what skills or what tactics that we used in generations before to survive that are no longer useful today. I see this as a moment. When people act like they can't envision abolition, this is a moment of abolition right here. This is how it looks in practice. This is how it looks. This is how we break it apart. And the last thing I would say is that the way mass incarceration works and how I experienced in my life is that it penetrates the private, right? Spending years in prison, and when I talk about those are years away from my son, right? This is painful, you know? This is not an easy process, which is why we run from it.
My father was a child soldier. He started war at the age of 15. I was raised by a killer, essentially. And in the end, the way that he treated me and my two brothers, his sons, we were trained that way too. Never to cry, never to really feel emotions except for pain. The shit got so real for them that at the age of 25, my youngest brother took his life and shot himself in the head because of mental illness issues. And I remember at his funeral, to say his eulogy, my second brother tapped me before I went up to say the speech. And he said, "Don't cry up there. Don't let him see you weep." And I basically held his promise. And then 9 months later, I had to speak at his eulogy, because he went the same way too. None of that really hit me, because I still was going to school, still was trying to do my thing. And I think that it all came crashing on my first night in Rikers. Because I was laying down, and I remember that I had this crazy, comfortable feeling, like I was home, like I belonged there, like I was trained to deal with the trauma and the pain that I was about to go through. And I was. And I said, this is crazy. Because for the first time, I felt a lot of love for my brothers, but then also deep inside I felt a lot of self-hate. Because I felt like this is normal, and that this is the problem. And I still haven't cried, I still haven't mourned my brothers, right? Because I still feel like I'm a soldier. I want to cry, but I won't. And when Kirk told me about this panel, I was like, I'm not going to that motherfucker. I'm going to be the last one. I knew it. Your family is the only one that's going to tell you how to love yourself. And this has been a project for centuries. To essentially say that the trauma that we go through, and the only way we're going to express it, and the only way we're going to communicate that, is through violence and not through healing. So I appreciate this panel. I thank all y'all for being here, and I just really want to say that this struggle is international. They've been breaking our spirit for a fucking long time, and I'm not taking it. I got a personal responsibility to break that system. I got a personal responsibility to heal with all of y'all. And so with that, I move forward.
Like really, like healing is we all have to heal, right? So thank you guys for sharing this really important message, and thank you all for being here. Much love.